Okay, so that crappy montage shows that I have gotten better at Minecraft. But how did we get here? Firstly, let me introduce my practice map. There are 5 skill aspects that one can choose to practice. Those being clutching, aim training, parkour, bridging, and last but definitely least, chest looting. Oh, and these two? I haven't gotten around to making them yet, so they don't matter. Now to give you some context, around mid-August 2025, I released this practice map when it was only 70% done. Why did I do this, you ask? I don't know. I just haven't posted in a while and wanted to share this map before someone else with a lot more clout than me made a practice map. However, as soon as I released that video, I questioned whether this practice map would even make you better. So, here we are now, since from mid-August until mid-September, I practiced all 5 skills every day for an entire month. But quickly before we find out if I improved or not, unless you are one of these 19 legends, you probably don't know how this practice map works. And while you don't really need to, I just want to explain that there is a lot of customizability for each skill aspect. But if you want to know them all, just go to my old video. However, as an example, some things like clutching were just the same minigame, but with tons of options. Like you can choose what height, what item, and what the terrain you want to clutch on is like. Whereas for chest looting, there is a basic chest looting minigame, where you grab all the essential items out of a buried treasure chest as fast as you can. But there are also some fun minigames, like cluttered chest looting, where you have to press this button, and in chat it says what item you have to grab out of the chest. And then you have to quickly find the item and take it out. I will go into how the minigames for each skill aspect work when I get into them. But why not start off with chest looting, since I was just yapping about it like 5 seconds ago. Cluttered and buried treasure chest looting were 2 of the 3 minigames related to chest looting that I practiced. The last one is aim training inside of a chest. I have 30 seconds to click as many targets as possible. The lime glass is the actual target, and the yellow is where the next one will be. Looking at the graph, there isn't much of a noticeable improvement, but I still reckon practicing did improve my aim, as on the first day I got 91 targets in 30 seconds with 13 misclicks, and on day 29 I peaked at 106 targets in 30 seconds, with 17 misclicks. Which doesn't sound a whole lot better, but it's aim training in a chest, and I consider it to be the most useless minigame to be good at when it comes to actual chest looting. So now let's look at a perhaps more useful minigame, such as buried treasure chest looting. So let's have a look at the graph. My time on day 1 went from 6.25 seconds to being more than halved to a low 3.03 seconds by day 25, which I'd argue is a massive improvement, and buried treasure chest is like almost similar to like an actual chest that you'll normally loot in the game, so 3 seconds isn't bad. Oh, I almost forgot to say, I measured my time by doing 5 attempts and then taking the average of all the times combined. I used the same method to measure the time for cluttered chest looting, so let's look at the graph for it. Despite my times being a bit inconsistent, the trend line shows that overall my times did decrease, with my best day, 28, averaging 0.46 seconds to loot an item. I reckon this minigame helped a lot with my ability to search for the item I want in a cluttered chest, as after the challenge I was playing on a friend's realm and I never had the problem where I was trying to find an item inside of a cluttered chest. So that was it for chest looting. Overall, I definitely feel like I've improved. But can the same be said for clutching? I don't know, cause next up I'm gonna yap about aim training. When I was making that aim training, I thought to myself, who actually plays Minecraft and says, damn, I really wish there was an aim trainer? And sometimes I still think that. But since I made it, I still had to practice it during the 30 days, and honestly it's pretty fun when you're in the mood to practice aim training. There is also a lot of customizability, but I ain't gonna go into all the settings, so just check out my older video if you want them. Across the 30 days, I just practiced the same mode with small, medium, and large target sizes. The graph for the small targets shows the most consistent improvement, as I went from 58 targets in 30 seconds with 10 misclicks to 70 targets and only 3 misclicks. The graphs for medium and large targets look a bit more inconsistent, but I still improved a little bit, going from 64 targets to 77 targets in 30 seconds by day 30. And lastly, for large targets, on day 1 I got 74 targets in half a minute, and at the end of the month I got 89. It'd be cool to see a speedrunner or some Minecraft pro play this map, cause I'm curious what their score would be. But even if you're not a sweat, feel free to comment your score on aim training down below. I've accidentally been going in order of my favorite skill aspect to my least favorite, so why not keep it going by diving into my third favorite, clutching. I practiced jumping from 40, 70 and 100 blocks high, and then did 10 attempts using a water bucket and another 10 attempts with a ladder for all 3 heights. On day 1 in the red, you can see I landed 90% of my ladder clutches, but then it dips down to 40% and it slowly climbs back up towards 80 to 90% on the last days for both the ladder and the water bucket. The trend for 70 blocks is similar, as I start off only landing about 60% of the time with the ladder, and 70% with the bucket. However, I finish off by landing both water and ladder clutching 90% of the time in the last couple of days, so I'd say that's pretty good for 70 blocks. The 40 block clutch shows the most consistent improvement, as I find the timing really easy now, since from day 15 onwards, I landed the water bucket 100% of the time quite often. To conclude, this map has definitely helped me improve at clutching, and there are also a lot more ways to clutch than just ladder and water bucket. So if you want to become the next dream, hey, maybe downloading this map wouldn't be a bad idea. Parkour is the minigame where I put the most amount of effort into making out of any other skill in this map. This is because I made an entire parkour generator where you can customize almost anything. From the jump distance and offset, to jump types like head hitters, or selecting what block the parkour is made out of. Then, with the click of this button, parkour will generate with a bit of randomness here and there, which made doing parkour for a month straight a lot less stale. And if you enjoy the parkour that was generated, you can save it in one of these 20 save slots. But all these features don't matter if it doesn't even make you better at parkour. So let's jump into it after I explain how I practiced the parkour. I knew before the 30 days of practicing that I wouldn't enjoy doing the same parkour every day for 30 days. So I practiced 3 difficulties of parkour every day. Easy had no 4 blocks or height changing, and custom jumps were disabled. Medium allowed for 3 block 1-ups, as I allowed the height to change, head hitters, and 1 block neos. While hard mode had everything enabled, from 4 block jumps to 2 block neos. However, the parkour generates randomly. So to fairly test if I had improved, I saved the parkour generation for each difficulty on day 1, and on day 30 I ran it back to see if my time had improved. While on days 2 to 29, I practiced each difficulty but with a random generation so parkour doesn't get stale. So let's begin by looking at hard mode. On day 1, it took 50.1 seconds to complete the parkour, and on the last day, this time was improved by 9.6 seconds to 40.5, which is a 19% improvement. The mediocre parkour took 32.3 seconds, and on day 30 I had a time of 24.6, which is an improvement of 24%. And lastly, for the easy parkour, I improved by 13%, going from 19.35 to 16.9 seconds. The reason it was such a small increase for easy is because there is not many jumps that can be done faster, they're all basically the same. However, on average I improved by like 15% at parkour, which for only practicing it 5 minutes a day is pretty good, I'd argue. So if you want to improve at parkour or any specific jumps, this is definitely the map for you. And wow, that leaves us with just one more skill aspect. Can you guess what it is? Sorry, you don't get much time. It was bridging. But that's because I spent the least amount of time bridging out of all the game modes. Probably because I found it the most boring and I didn't try very hard to improve, which may have reflected in the results. Especially because I knew how to speed a bridge already, and I didn't want to learn a new method because even if I learn a faster method, it won't work on a server because my ping is too high. Moving on, I practiced close, medium, and far distances, and then I saved the island location to compare day 1 and day 30. While on the other days I'd press this button which generated the island in a sort of random position to make it a tiny bit less boring than it already is. For close distance, my time improved by 20%, going from 8.8 to 6.95 seconds. Medium distance saw an improvement of 18% as my time decreased from 20.25 to 16.45 by day 30. And lastly, for the furthest distance, my day 1 time of 31.5 only decreased by like 3 seconds, going to 28.1, which is about 11%. Also, the graphs look quite inconsistent due to the distance randomizer. For example, the medium distance could generate between 25 and 35 blocks away, which mildly affected the consistency, but it didn't really affect the true results, as on day 30 I had a faster time on all 3 of the distances, and alongside that, I became much more consistent at speed bridging, as now I am comfortable gapping it to an end city, even if I only save a minute, and risk losing it all if I fall. Also, this improvement goes for most skill aspects that I have practiced, as I now trust myself to do riskier parkour and clutches. So that concludes my month-long journey of practicing skill aspects in a block game. I finished this challenge a month after my previous video, which is around mid-September. So you can do the math on how long I took to stop procrastinating and actually edit this video. But with that aside, I would really appreciate if Feinberg, Fruitberries, Recrap, or any other cracked Minecraft player played this map, especially to see how good they'll be at the aim trainer and clutching. But that's all for me, so like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if I should start working on crafting and archery practice. So goodbye for now, and take care.